Now, short break. We are back here on Politics and Power. What exactly are we talking about? The battle for Nairobi. There's been a little bit of an issue here and there when it comes to who should be given the flag to run for the Nairobi gubernatorial race. Now, joining me, or rather, my guest in studio is Mary Ariviza, who is also an aspiring member of parliament for the Dagoretti North constituency and the current nominated member of county assembly here in Nairobi. Now, before we went for a break, we were just talking about, Igathe, Polycarp Igathe being brought forward as somebody who is going to be given the flag of the Jubilee Party, and proposals to have Tim Wanyonyi, who is an ODM member, to be his deputy. And the Mulembe Nation, like clarification, like you said behind the scenes, that we should clarify, it is not just Luya leaders in the ODM party, but across different political parties here in the city of Nairobi. Why did it then become just a Mulembe kind of thing for you? And
it was just felt that he was just Honorable Tim Wanyonyi was just being looked down upon. And it's like, because most of the time, even when something happens to a Mulembe person, we normally let it cool down. We don't make too much whatever. But I think this is the only, in the present dispensation, it is just Wanyonyi that Luyas can think is into anything. We are not looking forward to asking Bada to deputize. Remember, our Luo brothers and sisters are our Semejis. Mm-hmm. So the Semejis, in a country that has got over 43 tribes, if a Semeji asks to deputize Raila, then we will be getting too much concentrated in one area. Are you getting? Mm-hmm. So we would rather, we are not even making anybody to stand up for any position. Okay. We are also not the deputy, whether woman or man, we are not asking. Mm-hmm. We are not asking for the president, and that is for us, most of those people that you saw there, it is Baba. Okay. We have no doubt about it, and we will back him up. But I think for them to just think they can have, Central Kenya can have deputy for the deputy president, and then they come and get also Nairobi. I think it looks like they don't think there are other people around. And it is quite very interesting in a population. Luyas are, I think, the most voted, they are the ones who vote the most, at about 1.2 people who vote in this city. And so they cannot just be overlooked. And so it wasn't ODM matter per se. It was the yes, and it's like, so in this, at the top, when people will be making decisions on a higher level, where will Luyas be? Okay.
Now let's look at assuming it's not taken as serious as probably with the magnitude that we want it to be taken with. What happens then? What should be the next course of action to make sure that the Luya people in this county are heard?
I think one of them said that the leadership that was there, the people that led the ones who led the reading of the statement, they said that we will be given any directions and we will follow. So we will wait and see which direction the leadership that gave would lead. But I don't think it will go into that. Okay. What I'm seeing is there should be a way where there is a consensus and everybody has agreed. Even my friends from Central, they warned me. I won't mention name on TV. Don't take so and so, and the worst of them is this one. Okay. I don't want to mention. So, but I said, you people in ODM, make sure Tim Wanyonyi gets this. Okay. People are more comfortable with the team. Okay. So I don't know why somebody would just think and just come, call him and tell him this is it. Okay. Everybody has got an ambition. Okay. And if there is anything like, for instance, in Azimio, that somebody else more qualified could be there, the thing is, it needed to, we can do what we call nomination.
I saw something like that where you're suggesting to have joint nomination between the two of them.
The two of them, and then the person, the flag. And what we need to know is that we really don't have a strong flag bearer from the other parties.
Okay.
I think the other person that is coming up is Sakaja, Honorable Sakaja.
Okay.
And in my opinion, Honorable Sakaja has nowhere, even half of what team it is.
Okay.
So if team is given this, team would get. But the Luyas, knowing that Sakaja is not really completely Luya, is anchored in Luya.
Okay.
You know what I mean when I say anchored? The mother was Luya. The father is Kalenjin. So, but the Luyas have already said, and I think it's on social media, that in case team is not given, they would give Uda. Sakaja. That means that is rebellion, which is unheard of.
They will do that to punish Azimio?
Kind of like it's a rebellion, kind of. So I'm thinking that why let it go that direction? Give team what it takes, I mean what he wants.
Okay.
Let him go in. If people reject him, but I think ODM by itself has always won this seat, even during Kedero's time, and during Mike's time it was also like a rebellion, kind of. Why not? Let's allow. Now, let me say something else before we go on.
Okay.
Mr. Igathe is a good gentleman. He's a corporate man. Nairobi is not for a corporate man. I can assure you. And I'm a lecturer of psychology, and I've taught University of Nairobi psychology of workplace and social psychology and group dynamics. Nairobi County is very unique. When you hear cartels, those animals who are around, somebody can be the one who is controlling who is being paid tender and who is not being paid, and that person is not there. They are remotely in somewhere and they are controlling what is going on. It's there and it happens. You need a person that is just not corporate, but a person that is also political and very politically minded. I'm thinking that aspect, Igathe is a good man, but he may not have that aspect. And so when he comes in, and the MCAs, as they always do, they say they are going to impeach him. He will not know how to handle dynamically so that he doesn't get impeached. So we might get him again on a run, even just before he finishes a year or so, because they will bring an impeachment. If somebody, it is called Kipindi, somebody will just bring a Kipindi, say we are all going to impeach Governor Igathe, and they start collecting signatures. You see, as a dynamic politician, like Tim, who has been there as a councillor and who has been there now as an MP in Parliament for 2 years, he will know what to do. You need to know what to do. It's not just corporate, because you are dealing with people who are not corporates. And the other aspect is that many of the people that are MCS, I don't know about the group that will come, they are not necessarily at the level of intellectualism of Mr. Igathe. They are not at that level. In fact, it may even irritate some of those people. Yani unatuletea kwa sababu unafikiria unajua. So I think you need somebody who can mix intellectualism, which I think the lawyer Wanyonyi has, and the dynamic of social dynamics of being able to live with the people, a certain group of people who have a certain mentality. Otherwise, we could even get more gymnastics in the next assembly than we had in this one that is living. Yeah.
All right, let's look at probably, because we've talked about him being a little bit too corporate for the County Assembly of Nairobi, and I want to look at what they figured, or rather what the Jubilee Party actually looked at and said Igathe is the man that could actually be leading Nairobi. What do you think they saw Nairobi as and decided that this will be the guy that will be steering this city forward?
I'm not to understand what was explained was that the business community possibly had recommended him. But you see, the business community are in their shops, they are in their businesses across town. What goes on in City Hall is completely
different,
very different from what goes on in the corporate world. So the business community, because they have known what has gone on in that City Hall, and sometimes it's quite disgusting, by the way. You can't even, it's unimaginable. It is beyond sometimes any reasoning. So they may think that Igathe is the one who can bring in, but You see, the assembly side and the executive side have to cooperate. I'm thinking, if he took off, we don't want him either to go early to the grave because of developing complications, because he took off the other time. Well, it was a complex time. We went through with a lot of pain also at that time. But if he took off, that is somebody who is likely also to take off. And I think, for me, he's a good man. I have talked to him even when he was there, just before he left. Actually, I was supposed to go and visit his office. And then I heard he had gone, and I said, I'd just met this guy at the railways, and he was inspecting the trains and checking out how we will have the train systems. And I said, this is a sharp guy. But what I'm just saying is, I really, really have my doubts if he can be able to cope with the dynamics of City Hall, because it needs both the corporate world that he has, but it also needs an intellectual world, but also it needs dynamic of just being able to know how to maneuver things around. Okay. Yeah.
Let's narrow it down to, I wanted to look at now what this does to other members of the Jubilee Party that have been here campaigning ever since the party, ever since it was announced that you can now start campaigning for different political seats, and they've shown interest, invested in their campaigns, invested in the party, and Igade just out of nowhere pops in. What does that mean for them? Is it not some sort of betrayal?
It's just not them. It's okay. It's the question you're asking. It has an effect on the Jubilee Party, but it has an effect on our democracy. Okay. You check out at Mr. Ngatia. Mr. Ngatia has just every estate you will go in, you find a billboard, and those billboards are into thousands of shillings, and it's not one. And then you have team also. You will just find Sio Mimi Nisisi. You will find them all over. They have invested in a great deal. Kagure has invested in a great deal. And I think the one who hasn't invested in too much, but I think is because he's a late comer, is Honorable Sakaja. So it beats
also Kananu,
and of course the current my current governor Kananu. Kananu also she has also invested in quite a great deal. She's also on several billboards and also this moving lorries, for campaigns. Now, when you just come suddenly and just declare one person who even people had already forgotten about, and there are people who have been there, the incumbent is there, and they happen to be in your party, you are actually killing people's spirits and killing democracy in this country. So it is important. What I would have loved for the Jubilee Party to do is to do its primaries. Let them do their primaries.
Instead of giving them back nomination.
Yes, let them do their primaries. Let whoever they get first team. And in any way, it's only, in this case, it's only Azimio candidate that will win. So if we got the one of Jubilee, it would still be okay for us. If we got team, it would still be okay for us. But I think just pushing in somebody from oblivion and telling him now he's the one, it kills the spirit of democracy. And it's very discouraging because people have invested heavily into this.
All right, now you mentioned something important. Before I forget, I just want to dig into that because you say even if you get Jubilee or you get team, it's a candidate of the Azimio that is going to win. And there's been talks that if at all Raila is getting the presidency, then Nairobi being one of the or rather the biggest county in the country, cannot give, or rather the leader of Nairobi cannot be coming from ODM again. If we have an ODM president, then this leader needs to come from a different political party within the Azimio coalition. It
should be really coming from the same Azimio. And the reason is, as I started off, I said that 60% of the GDP of the country comes from Nairobi. Some of the recession that we have faced in this country, I know there was COVID. But the other one before COVID was because of the mismanagement of Nairobi. And because of the governor that was there and so on. There was a lot of mismanagement. If you are a president of this country and you don't take care who is at City Hall, you'll be messed up. because if the resources of City Hall are not well done, I know, I'm in trade, I am in transport and infrastructure committees and so on. We are having a collection of taxes below. They are below even Kidero's time, and in fact they have been at their lowest. And we are wondering even KRA what they came to do, because they seem to be even underperforming. And so for the country to go on, why we need a very dynamic person at City Hall, but not just dynamic, we also need a person that is not corrupt. If anybody has been mentioned in land scandals, has been mentioned in corrupt scandals that we have that are on the in the public domain, why would you be putting them in charge of your 65% GDP and then put a president and that person will not be able to perform? So it's important that the president of the republic, and that's why even President Uhuru Kenyatta had Mike, who was in his party, and also when Mike left, Governor Mike, our former governor, our governor, present governor, the incumbent, Honorable Kananu, who is also Jubilee, came in. You cannot start arguing like that when it is another person. It is just important that our president, Raila Amolo Odinga, when he becomes the president on the 9th of September 2022, that he should have somebody who will be able to maximize the collection of taxes in Nairobi, make sure that the loopholes of tenders are, and there is a lot of tenders, people have not been paid. Many people we owe as a county government. The debt should be reduced. It may not be completely wiped out, but it should be reduced with the proper plan. Where we tell somebody, like we owe, I think there is a mzee who came crying to me, and he comes from Dagoretti, I think south, not Dagoretti north, and he constructed some building for a school somewhere, and the county government owes him about, because it was dormitories, I think, about 700 million. And they have paid him nothing. We want somebody who will use their common sense and be able to structure so that this mzee, who is almost in depression, and some people have killed themselves because of not being paid, so that we structure and we tell this mzee, we cannot give you 700 million, but can we do, let's say we give you in 5 years 700 million, in even 14 years. You can even do, because if you give him 50 years per year, you are helping him to live a good, comfortable life. And in 14 years, if you are paying slowly and maybe add a little interest because you have spread it, you pay that person. So we need somebody who will be dynamic, who will be able to reconstruct so that the glory of the green city in the sun can come back.
Okay, now I just want to look at some of the demands that you as the Mulembe Nation did put across, and just to get to understand, especially when it comes to parliamentary seats, you want Westlands, Makadara, Embakasi West and Langata. What exactly does this mean? That within the Azimio, this particular area should not have a different candidate apart from the ODM, or what exactly does that mean?
I think this was directed towards ODM. It wasn't for the rest of the Azimio. What the group was just saying that those are the areas that have been predominantly for Luyas, and so people should not ride on Azimio to come and demand for seats in those areas. They should be given to Mulembe Nation, but through ODM ticket. I think that is what is the underlying. I think I stand to be corrected, but that is it. It is not. And I've lived in Nairobi all my life, and yes, Langata used to be, and the larger Langata used to go into Nairobi West, up to Karen, and it was always Luyas. And then we shared it with Baba, and then we had Omido, who was there a while ago in the late 70s, I think. And Makadara has always been. Dagoretti North is Luyas. I think we lend it to the Kisses, so it is now high time
you take it back.
Not just take it back. We want our Kissi brothers and sisters to give, to stretch their hand for, say, thank you, now this time we'll support you. And I'm hoping that I will be their choice.
Amen. Before I say amen again, let's look at now, for me, I think what then should be the way forward for before? I know I've mentioned about if at all we do not get to this particular concession whereby they come down and sit down and agree to your irreducible minimums. What then happens later on if at all we don't get that?
I said I'm not. I think I can have an opinion over this, a personal opinion, what it could be, which I don't want to go, because I think things can be sorted out without it getting into that. But that was said. It wasn't said, even in the statement, it wasn't said what it would. But I think the mood was of anger, of frustration, kind of like you are being looked down upon, and yet you contribute a lot. And so the person that said there that we will do whichever our leaders tell us, we will be able to do. So imagine if the leader comes and says demonstrations. Do we want to go there?
No, we don't want to go there.
Comes and says we leave Azimio. Do we want to do that?
No,
we don't want to do that. So I think the leadership, and the leadership means seeing a problem and sorting it out before it goes out of hand. And I know my people, they are nice, but when they get chaotic, it can be quite chaotic.
Does this then bring about division in just the Azimio coalition when it comes to the leaders now standing up and saying these are our demands, we like to have this, and probably the Kamba community also tomorrow says this is also what we want, then how do we meet in the middle?
Why would it be when lawyers are saying we are being overlooked becomes an issue? And when Kambas are demanding, it is their rights. When the Kikuyus are demanding, it's their rights. I think we need to redefine, because it may just be because nobody expects you to say anything, but it doesn't mean you really can't demand. It's like some of us have got a lot of entitlements on some things, and we have to, and this is what the handshake was all about, where we were coming out of divisive politics and saying, now let's forget about the past, let's move forward. But in that moving forward, some other people must not be forgotten in between. And the handshake just takes the two major tribes that are involved, the Luos and the Kikuyus. It is important that other people feel part of this whole thing. And I think I am talking this with honor and respect to my His Excellency the President and His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, who are greatly honor and respect that they must carry people along with them. And they cannot afford not to carry the other 41 tribes along as they go on. What has happened in this country is great, and we are looking forward to a greater country. But when one child in a house cries, you better look and ask, is there something that has beaten them or what? And if you find that John has just been beaten by Mary, you tell Mary, Mary, I think you are too much, you've eaten John's piece of meat.
Let me come now away from matters, the battle for Nairobi. Let's look at what could be a crack in the Azimio coalition, because now the other day I saw Maendeleo Chap party leader Governor Mutua giving his also demands when it comes to, we would want probably to be given the deputy president, and some of the demands that if they were not met, then probably if they were not included on the table, then they will leave the Azimio coalition. Right now, just 9 hours ago, Kivutha Kibwana has also said on his Twitter page that it is proving impossible to work with Kalonzo Musyoka in Azimio in Ukambani. After he joined us, he has wanted especially me out of all Azimio structures. I have no choice but to be at peace with this sad reality. History will ultimately judge all of us. May it be kind, at Raila Odinga. And also recently, the Wiper Party says if we do not have the deputy president position, then no Kalonzo, no Raila. No Kalonzo, no Raila. That's exactly that. They will boycott elections. And women leaders within Azimio have come out to say, now we will want the deputy president position for Martha Karua, and because Martha Karua has been instrumental in matters of this country, fighting for the liberation and all that. So what exactly is happening within this coalition, and who is this thorn that is, trying to make the coalition fall apart?
What I see is exactly what we're talking about, where somebody is getting this with what they can get. When you come into concession of this kind, you must be able to give and give and take. And in this case, I think what His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka is doing is actually really frustrating. It's like he came to sink the ship within. It's very, very important for him to know he may not be the best deputy for Raila, because these have been people who have been also contented. We are not Americans, Americans is where Biden is the deputy president, and then another time, or even let me give you a good example of Bill Clinton's wife. She's runs for presidency. She doesn't get it, but she's given a very senior position. Was it the Secretary of State? Secretary of State. Very unique circumstances, because if a person is so angry and so bitter, because it's not where you are requesting secretly as gentlemen, you're making it public and rallying your tribe with you. If you're given that Secretary of State, or now in this case deputy, you might even work against the person that is there. So it's not in goodwill. It doesn't show maturity, and this country cannot go on with people who just come in with their demand. Now, I know we have already said we also have our reducibles, but the good thing about this is lawyers have not also asked about any other thing. Secondly, Team Wanyonyi, Mheshimiwa, had also started his campaign earlier, and we are just against. So
it is something that we can look at and say,
but in this one, you are being accommodated in a group that is already moving on. There are very many people including the professor Kibuda Kibwana, whom you are saying. What about Mamangilo? What about Mamangilo, Kibuda Kibwana, and the Chap? Yeah, you cannot come in and just be the one. And now, if Kibuda Kibwana is also being frustrated, then it's very unfortunate, because as a father of the Kamba nation, you need to be encouraging these other people. He may not, I don't think Kibuda may be an age mate, but we can say other people, so that they feel part of, even you need to encourage them, so that you say, you don't have to take me, but could you take any other Kamba? I think for me, let me state it here, Charity Ngilu can make a very good deputy president. Leave many other names that you're talking about. Martha Karua, I have my reservations because of her past. And this is not that she cannot make it, and not because she's a woman. Because I happen to have been in the electoral process where things happen in KICs. I have not forgotten. I'm just thinking you need to give power, not for the sake because people are women, but because they can be able to perform and perform well and work well with the president. We don't want people who will go in and give Baba a headache. That is the whole thing. We want people who can be able to complement him and work under him. And I think for me, that's why I'm saying I would have loved if Kalonzo said, we want any Kamba, can you choose any Kamba? And I would go for Mamangilo. I would also like not just the Kamba community, I would also like the Kikuyu community who have been in power throughout from the last 60 years. I think half of them, they have been in power, except for the interlude of President Moi. They better give other Kenyans a break. It is very disrespectful of them to come and demand for deputy president. I would like the Kikuyu community, for instance, to say, can we even have a Turukana or a Costarian Even if they don't want Luya or the big tribes.
All right.
Yeah, why don't we have, don't just think about me, myself, and I. Yeah. If we are going to build this country and a nation, and in Kenya we call ourselves a nation. A nation is made up of a people who are headed the same direction in values, in what they look about, the whole of themselves. I doubt Kenya, we keep going away from being a nation and being just a country, a country of many nations. We need to come together where I want a son of a Turukana can become a president in this country without a lot of demands. Right. We've not had a Kuria demand anything. We have not had a Teso demand anything. Right. So this big tribe syndrome in this country is not very good for the country. And so in short, what I'm saying is that His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka should slow down and give our people a break. It's irritating, actually.
Now, because these threats that if at all these demands are not met, then they might leave the coalition. What will that then mean for this coalition as we wind up, because I'm out of time?
I don't think it would mean very much. I know some people
but it has been argued that we need every vote that...
We need everybody on board. We cannot force people on a ship. Some of them can fall in the water.
What if they go with those votes that we need and somebody else comes?
The votes that are needed, I think even when Baba has won elections that was stolen and people have confessed to have stolen, Kalonzo was also on the ballot, isn't it? Yes. I believe Baba can still just be able to win the elections. However, it is important that we come together, work together, and live together in this country as a people. Going there with the demands like little babies with the temper tantrums, it's not a very good thing, because that they need to give just Baba time to bring somebody. In fact, for me, the Kikuyus and the Kambas now should be out. Let's get a Turukana
as a deputy.
As a deputy and a good lady. If it is a lady, the better. Some of this, let's get a Maasai. Some of these nice Maasai people who are who got some of this knowledge of leadership at their hand. Let's get somebody now not in those two tribes, because there is a lot of entitlement, and it isn't very good. Yeah.
All right, now I think we'll have to end it there. Thank you so much for coming for this discussion here on politics and power, and just giving your insights when it comes to matters, the battle for Nairobi, and also cracks in Azimio, whether the Azimio coalition is actually going to hold fort based on what we are seeing, different leaders having different demands, bringing about some sort of division in that particular coalition, because everybody has their demands, and if they are not met, they threaten to leave. We're having, it is a little bit hard for them to work together. And just before I went, I think I have a question. What will it be? Because most of them that we see trying to, you know, rub shoulders with one another are actually these leaders from the Ukambani region. We saw Alfred Mutua do that and threaten, if at all we are not brought on the table, this is exactly what is going to happen. And now Kivuta Kibwana says, it is very hard for me to work with Kalonzo Musyoka. He's made it hard for me to work with him in Azimio la Umoja, and he's wanted me out. What is it about this particular people from this particular region that is also causing division in this coalition?
Yeah, and I think it's because of the way this country is structured, and I've said we are not a nation. A nation are people who are brought together with values, common language, common behavior, common everything. In this country, we have decided we will remain Kikuyus, we will remain Luyas, we will remain Kambas. And so we also believe when your person is in power, is the one who makes you to get a bit of the cake. We are not allowing the structures in this country to work. So the Kamba people, I'm sure they believe that if they get the deputy presidents, that is what will make them to work. Very unfortunate. So they are struggling with their identity and how they can be able to cut the cake. We need to make the structures and institutions in this country to work. Thank you, my party leader, Honorable Raila, for being one of the people that have fought for democracy and space in this country. Now, including bringing devolution. Devolution must be allowed to work. And that's why we must choose people to be governors, people of integrity, people of honor, because a lot of money again is being taken into the county governments that lands through fake tenders into individual hands and paying of maybe lawyers and what, you know. So it is the way we have structured and our mentality as a people. And unless we change that, we will have a mirage of forming a united country.
Okay.
And so it's not a matter of the canvas, by the way. It's not a matter of the canvas, because if Kibudha Kibwana is also uncomfortable, it means there is somebody who is just wanting to make sure
that everybody else
he is the one and nobody else, even in that Ukambani.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. I want to end it there, because if you start talking about that, then we might not end this discussion and you are totally out of time. Thank you so much, Mary Arivisa, for making time for Politics and Power tonight. It has been an awesome discussion, and just having you on set to talk about the battle for Nairobi. You were part of the group at the press briefing today. Murembe leaders now demanding different, having different demands when it comes to the gubernatorial race here in Nairobi, and also for your insights when it comes to the cracks in the Azimio la Umoja coalition. I really do appreciate that. And yes, my guest tonight has been Mary Arivisa. She is an aspiring women, or rather member of parliament for the Dagoretti North constituency. Nominations, I think, for the ODM party here in Nairobi will be taking place tomorrow. We wish
Friday.
On Friday. Thank you so much, and I wish you the very best when it comes to that.
Thank you.
You're looking forward to having you as now the member of parliament for Dagoretti North.
And you are in Dagoretti North.
We are in Dagoretti North.
Thank you.
So you're going to be looking at our issues here, and when we complain, you are quick when it comes to solving that. All right. This is Politics and Power. My name is Brian Amuai. Let's do this again next time. Have yourselves a lovely night.